Very exciting day. Very proud to be a Louisvillian, born and raised here. And LDG Development is really proud and committed to be part of this community. So, LDG since 2002 has built about 23,000 mostly affordable housing units across the United States. Over the last 5 years, we've been the largest developer across the country of these type properties. And we're really excited about serving our residents. Our motto, what we live with every day, is everyone deserves a quality place to live. And we try to use that lens in everything we do. The properties behind you, Jefferson Green and Jefferson Crossings, are 552. Jefferson Landing, I'm sorry. Yeah, wow. Jefferson Crossings is down the street, but Jefferson Landing and Jefferson Green, sorry. I think if you look at the properties, you can see the quality that, we believe that you should be able to walk into any of our properties and they'd be as nice as any market rate property. We also believe that affordable housing needs to be built in every zip code, every district across the city. Not, not everybody always agrees with that, but we are here to say that we will fight that fight as long as it has to be fought. And so, anyway, in addition to all of that, we know that the most important person in all this process, so there's a lot of people in this process, from lenders to investors to the city government to our suppliers to the people that build the units, are all important, but the most important person is our resident. And so that's what we're here today about, is the resident and what can we bring back to the community. And so really, in the last couple of years, we've been involved with the Evolve 502 and daycare programs for our residents. And last summer, we saw reading scores go up almost 2 grades in a very short period of time by working with those residents and the kids that live in our property. And we know that reading scores are important. We know that an education is important. So today we have what I would call the home run. The most exciting thing we've been able to announce in a long time, which is Jeff Bezos and the Bezos Foundations and the Bezos Academy, that they're going to be involved with us in bringing preschool education to people.
What a great day. I don't think it's sunny in Seattle right now, so thank you. I am Mike George. I'm the president of Bezos Academy. What I want you to know is that we believe that every child deserves the great start that a truly exceptional preschool education gives them. In this group that's assembled today, Lieutenant Governor Coleman, Mayor Greenberg, Councilor Flood, and Superintendent Polio, and the business and community that's out, especially our friends at LDG, Chris and Lisa DeShinger. It gives us hope, more than hope actually, we know we're acting on it, that we'll be able to bring a high-quality preschool to this community, and we'll be able to accomplish a lot more together. Our founder, Jeff Bezos, he attributes who he is, like the start he got in his preschool, to who he became as a person. He loves to learn, he's a leader, he's an innovator, and he remembers his Montessori preschool education. And just think about this. He also knows that less than half of the children in this country actually have access to a seat. And that's because of a number of very simple things. One, they don't exist. And when they do exist, they're largely too expensive for most folks. We're thrilled to announce, as Chris said, that we're going to be bringing the first all-day, tuition-free, Montessori-inspired preschool to Louisville, the first Bezos Academy. And it's going to be our first. Thank you. And it's the first of what I believe will be many more preschools that we work with LDG on and others. Our model is to find organizations that are already in communities. They're committed to their communities. It's clear that Chris and Lisa are, and LDG is. And they share our values and our notion of the importance of what we're doing. And frankly, affordable housing developers are great partners. We signed our first agreement with LDG last year for a school that we're opening in Dallas. And literally minutes after that was signed, I don't know whether a message or just spoken, Chris and Lisa said, Louisville's next, right? So and here we are. This will be our 27th signed lease for schools, so our 27th school. It may launch before some of those on the 27th in the last 3 years. And as of today, we have 11 preschools operating over 3 states, Washington, Texas, and Florida. And we are headed here into Kentucky. We're going to be working also in Arizona and doing a little project in Hawaii. And our missions overlap significantly. We're serving the same community of people. And what that has resulted in is that 25% of all of our relationships are with affordable housing developers. And having, when you think about it, having a full day free year-round preschool in a housing community like this, it makes it much easier for the residents and the neighbors. This school will be open to both the residents and the surrounding community. And I don't think we need research to tell us this, it's more common sense, but preschool helps the child, and it also has material impacts on the family. And I want to tell you one quick little story. I was walking into our McCarver, it's a preschool that we put at McCarver Elementary in Tacoma, Washington, about a month and a half ago. And I happened to be walking in at the same time with a parent, Kate. And Kate had her child, Cameron, with her. And I introduced myself. And at first, I didn't tell her that I was connected to the school. I just introduced myself. And I said, hey, how long has Cameron been in the school? She said, oh, this is his 2nd year. I said, what do you think? What do you think about Bezos Academy? She said, I love it. He's a different child. He's much more socialized. He brings things home every day to tell us about what he learned in school. And couldn't imagine not having this now. And I said, well, that's beautiful. I'm the president of Bezos Academy. You couldn't have said anything better to me. And she stopped me. She grabbed my shoulder, and she stopped me, and she squared up with me, and she started crying. And she said, I need you to know something. And I'm starting to tear up at this time. She says, you and your team have single-handedly lifted my family out of poverty. I said, really? She said, yeah, I can work now. She said, I couldn't afford to send my child to school, so I couldn't work. And now I'm able to do that. So I believe that's what this is about. It's about serving those children. And by virtue of doing that, we're going to serve the family. And by virtue of doing that, we're going to serve this community. So I want to thank you for embracing us. We have felt it from the beginning. And thank you for inviting us into your community.
And I want to thank everyone for being here. And we know that you could have picked many other communities to go into. So we want to thank you so much for coming to Kentucky. As I was thinking back on how we ended up here today, I have to go back to the story of how we came to meet Mike, George, and the Bezos community. And I have to tell the story because it is an incredible story. We got the email, and Christy came to me and was like, hey, we got this opportunity. And so I had to drag Chris kicking and screaming a little bit because, as all of y'all probably know, you get a lot of invitations to go to meetings, and you're like, really, we're gonna do this? And I was like, yes, we're gonna do this. And so Bill and Christy Robinson, we head out to Seattle, Washington, and we didn't know what to expect when we got there, honestly. And you think you're just going to go into a board meeting or just another meeting, and we go to their very first Bezos school, and that's where our meeting was held. And you just saw Mike up here and how tall he is. And we walk into the little room, and we're all sitting in little bitty chairs. And he's as comfortable sitting in that chair as if he was in a recliner. And we're like, okay, this is where we're doing this. And we're meeting all the little kids. And we go out back, and there's this little bitty girl, and they're in masks at this time, right? Because it's during COVID. And she comes up to each and every one of us, and she goes, I've got a secret. I got a secret to tell you, but you can't tell anybody else. And she tells each and every one of us this secret, and none of us can understand her, except for Chris. So we go back and we go to our secondary location to have our meeting at lunch, and Chris finally tells us what the secret was, and I wanted to tell back that little girl that, guess what, I got a secret too. We're going to put one of these schools at each and every one of our apartments. But that guy right there, he doesn't know it yet. But Christy knew it. And so we sat at that meeting, and Mike got it too. We talked, and his values and that Bezos Academy values lined up with ours. And they got it, and they know what we know, and that these outcomes for these children mean everything. And that's what lines up with the LDG Foundation. We all are all about keeping families in their homes. We're about eviction prevention and the community and building strong communities. And I am a child from this community, and we didn't know at the time that this was going to be our site. And I'm going to really try hard not to cry right now, but my grandmother is no longer with us, but she'd be so proud that this is where we're starting, because the education is so, so important. So I want to thank everyone who is here that has made this happen. Louisville has had its struggles. We all know that. But boy, had they come together and made this happen. When we brought Bezos here the first time, we really showed them what we could do as a community. And that makes me so, so very proud. So I just really want to first start out by thanking everyone at LDG that really has made this happen. Michael, Ramona, Frank, Nicole, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Nicole. She has worked diligently. Frank, who's really worked hard with the design. As you all can see, this is really the first real flagship model of their 4 classroom. I can't wait to see it done. I also would like to thank all the elected officials. Metro Council President Marcus Winkler, thank you. Morgan McGarvey, who's being represented today by the District Director Terrence Sullivan. Senator Leader Mitch McConnell, who's being represented today by the District Director Robin Taylor. Congressman Brett Guthrie, who's being represented by District Director Mark Lord. Also, I've got a few more, sorry. Deputy Mayor Barbara Sexton Smith. Lisa Clampton, I'm sorry, from Councilman Dan Simon's office, sorry. Deputy Chief of Staff Keisha Dorsey, and also Senator Rand Paul's office, who's being represented by Whitney Meadows. So if I've missed anybody, I am so sorry, but I also want to thank everyone from Metro Council. I don't know how many Metro Council people are here or former Metro Council people are here, but when we first started this, they really, really joined together to make this happen. I also want to thank Norton Healthcare, because boy, did they step up. Thank you, Riggs Lewis. He's always there. Thank you so much again. And I really, extra round of applause to Christy Lanier Robinson. And thank you to Mark and Barbara. They're phenomenal partners. Without them also, this would not have happened.
Do you guys understand what a huge deal this is? What a just day this is to celebrate the progress that is going to be made right here. I gotta give it up to everybody who made this happen. And we're here to talk about obviously early childhood education and to give these kids the start that they need and that they deserve. But this is really a multifaceted project, and it's going to pay dividends today and for generations to come. You know, first and foremost, to talk about affordable early childhood education, that is something that we want to make a reality all across Kentucky because childcare and lack of early childhood education is one of the top barriers to caregivers, primarily women, entering or re-entering the workforce. And so to be able to remove that barrier, as Mike talked about with the story that he heard, is something that we have to do now more than ever. There's never been a more desperate need for this in Kentucky, and it's for good reasons, right? We are currently working in a Commonwealth where our economy is catching fire. We have been able, since the Governor Beshear and I entered office, since our inauguration in December of 2019, broken every single economic development record on the books. $24 billion worth of investments from the private sector. And the best part of that is it's going to help create over 42,000 jobs across Kentucky. So we need a diverse and ready and skilled and available workforce now more than we ever have. But our families also need stability. They need the stability to be able to know that they can take advantage of these opportunities because as early childhood education is important, this is how important it is, okay? 2/3 of Kentucky's kindergartners walk through the door on the first day of kindergarten ill-prepared. 2/3. Do you know how we project prison populations? 3rd grade literacy rates. So when I say this is life or death for some kids, it really is. And it goes on to show that early childhood education increases graduation rates, it increases college going rates, it increases workforce numbers, all of those things. And all of those are very important. But the big thing is every kid should have access to this. This is why Governor Beshear and I have made universal pre-K a foundation of our Education First plan. Unfortunately, the Kentucky legislature failed to act on that. But I am a dog on a bone on this, you all. We're not going to let it go. I am the highest elected mother in Kentucky. I'm the highest elected teacher in Kentucky. I have a 3-year-old at home. I know what this means to families across Kentucky. And so we're not going to give up until this becomes a reality for everyone, but certainly today represents a step in the right direction for so many families. Because of the lofty investments and the big numbers and the announcements that we have, all of that is going to ring hollow if we do not have a workforce that can match all of this work in quality and in numbers. And the consequences of having a lack of early childhood education has really stark consequences for our kids, as I just mentioned. But I want to thank the Bezos Foundation and LDG Development for your leadership on this critically important project. You are putting your money where your mouth is, and you are leading by example. And Team Kentucky is so grateful for that. There is no greater way to change a person's economic situation than by lifting their education. And through events like these, I am reminded that we have a lot of work to do, but Kentucky is on the right track. Our workforce, our education system, our economic development investments, they're all inextricably linked. And the truth is that the future of Kentucky's economy is in our classrooms today. That is how linked those two things are. And we want an educated workforce. We want to make sure that we have an available workforce, and there are not barriers for women and caregivers to be able to enter. And so on behalf of the Commonwealth, thank you so much for this investment in what I like to call our littlest learners. And while I was a high school teacher myself, I'd explained to Mike I was scared of the little ones because they can smell fear. What I can tell you is, as a high school teacher, I had a front row seat to what it's like to triage at the final step before a child graduates from high school to try to catch them up. And now what we can think about is how far we can move them ahead because they're going to get the kind of start that they need. So thank you so much for this investment, and I look so forward to this in the coming months and years. And I think Lisa said we're going to have way more of these, right, Lisa? So happy to be here for every one of them.
Today is an amazing announcement. It's an amazing announcement led by amazing organizations and amazing people. On behalf of Louisville, I'm so happy and proud to welcome the Bezos Foundation and Bezos Academy to our great city. And I want to thank Mike and everyone with your team for joining with LDG and everyone else here and across our city to make this a reality. Thank you for your investment in our city, in our children, and in our future. This is a terrific model for a preschool because you're serving children and families in ways that put them in position to succeed. And it's such an innovative model to pair early childhood education with affordable housing. And not just affordable housing, but high quality and safe housing. I want to tell you all a brief little story. Just a few moments ago before this started, I was in the clubhouse and I met an amazing young girl named Layla. And her and her mom just moved here not too long ago. And Layla's mom was telling me that when they first moved here and Layla saw the clubhouse and she saw the playground, she said, "Mom, did we just move to Disney World?" And that is what these projects and these communities are all about. Is, as Chris said earlier, high quality, safe, affordable housing can and must be in every neighborhood across our city because people need quality, safe, and affordable housing in every part of our city. So thank you, Chris and Lisa, for not just the affordable housing that you all build, but for bringing this great opportunity to Louisville. LDG Development and LDG Foundation do so much more than just build affordable housing. I was talking to Mark before this got started as well. And something else to brag on LDG about what they have done here in our community is they have recently invested in solving our homeless crisis. And they have a hotel just south of downtown that in just a few short months, I believe it's 5 or 6 months that it has been open, they have already transitioned 100 individuals who were formerly homeless into permanent housing. So thank you all at LDG for making that happen. Everyone in Louisville so appreciates everyone here recognizing the critical importance of early childhood education. We know that helping getting our youngest children ready for kindergarten will prepare them to do better in school, but also their entire lives. As Mike and others mentioned, the research is clear. When kids start their education early, they will lead safer lives, they will lead healthier lives, they will have more opportunities for success and to pursue their hopes and dreams. It strengthens families, neighborhoods, our economy, our entire city. And that's why this must just be the first of many here in Louisville. And that's why one of the first things I did when I became mayor was create a brand new Office of Philanthropy, led by Mariana Barzin, who's with us today. We're going to work with local and national foundations and local and national nonprofits to develop a plan to make universal pre-K a reality for every 3- and 4-year-old child in Louisville. And let me thank Lieutenant Governor Coleman and Governor Beshear for your leadership statewide in working to make universal pre-K a reality for every 4-year-old child. We stand with you. We will work with you in the halls of the General Assembly to make it a reality across the whole state and right here in Louisville. And when you talk about the spirit of partnership and the amazing things that we as a city can do in partnership, we also owe a great debt of gratitude to Dr. Marty Polio and his entire team with JCPS I know that Dr. Polio and his colleagues in JCPS look forward to teaching Bezos Academy alumni in JCPS schools in the not too distant future, and I know that he and all of JCPS stands ready to partner with us on this project and others across our city. This investment, this partnership, is a leading example of what's possible. It helps us make the case for prioritizing early childhood education beyond what we've ever seen, because we know it helps put kids on a path to success and possibility. That's what every parent wants. That's what every child deserves. So we will build on your work here at the Bezos Academy and hear with what LDG is doing. Thank you all for being leaders in our city. We are going to continue to work on this to build more Bezos Academies with you and more with other early child care providers across our entire city. We cannot stop. This is too important for today and far too important for tomorrow. And I know that joining me in this effort to make this and other projects like this a reality are our partners on Metro Council.
What an exciting undertaking we have here today. We're on the forefront of an opportunity to inspire young children to fall in love with learning and to learn on a level that reaches them on a very personal level. These children represent the future of this community. Every dollar invested in education, every dollar invested in education is a dollar invested into the success of the community as a whole. I look at children and I see tomorrow's leaders, the doctors, the lawyers, the scientists. I see the promise of a future where there's no limit on what a child can become and what our community can and will become, thanks to the investment and collaboration of LDG Development and the Bezos Academy. Long after today's thank yous and the pats on the back, the legacy that you leave will serve as a reminder of what is possible when entities work together for the common good. I want to thank LDG, especially Mr. and Mrs. Dishner, for putting this investment together, and thank you to the Bezos Foundation for investing in the future of the children of this community and for the future of our hometown. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. We are lucky to have LDG Development and their colleagues as part of our village, and I welcome Bezos Academy to our village and hope for many more.
Good afternoon. I'm Terrence Sullivan, the District Director for Congressman McGarvey. And while he couldn't be here, he did want to commemorate this moment and this exciting event. And so he issued a congressional certificate that I will read and then present to the team here. So, on behalf of the U.S. House of Representatives and the residents of Kentucky's 3rd Congressional District, I would like to extend my gratitude to Bezos Academy and LDG Development for a commitment to establish tuition-free, wraparound service providing, and community-led preschools for Louisville's most vulnerable communities. Bezos Academy will provide Louisville's youngest scholars an opportunity to enter school kindergarten ready and serves as a generation-changing investment into the community for many years to come. Dated this 30th of March, 2023, Morgan McGarvey.
As the Lieutenant Governor said, it's very interesting on this gravel right here because, you know, anytime you get up to speak, you're like one hot mic away or one trip and fall away from going viral. And I wonder why Mike is so good at this. You just glide up here. And it's the cowboy boots. It's the boots. So the next one, the next Bezos Academy we open, I'll be here and I'm going to wear some cowboy boots. You'll have a full house to see that. So thank you so much for having me. I'll be brief because really I had very little, if anything, to do with this. But I did want to talk about the impact that it is going to have on the students in this district. First off, I do want to thank LDG for the goal for affordable housing. I have seen it firsthand. We know in JCPS right now we have 6,000 students. 6,000 students, Louisville, Kentucky, in 2023 who are what we consider to be homeless. Homeless students. And as a principal, at Doss High School, when on a regular basis a child would come in the door and I could tell something was wrong, I would ask him what the problem is. Well, last night I stayed with my aunt, and I'm not sure where I'm staying tonight. And for me to say, get into first period chemistry class and learn the periodic table, and they look at me like, you've got to be crazy, right? Like, you've got to be crazy to think I'm worried about that right now, where I'm not sure where I'm going to sleep tonight. And so to have the opportunity for housing like this for our students across this district is a true game changer. And thank you, LDG, for doing that. I can't thank you enough. On the early child care front and pre-K, it's hard for me to describe how important this is. If you've been in a kindergarten class, you can see the difference between those that come to kindergarten ready and those that are not ready. And here is the heart-crushing part of that. Research is clear. Kids know whether they're behind or ahead at the various early ages. And that becomes a self-fulfilling thing for year after. So if they enter kindergarten behind, they believe they're behind. Then they believe I'm not intelligent. I'm not good at school. I don't read well. I don't do math. That continues throughout their childhood into high school, and it causes problems from that point forward. When instead, it's just about giving them the resources that they need prior to entering kindergarten, which is high quality pre-K. This is something that we hear people talk about all the time. They should be talking about it in Frankfurt today. Instead, they're talking about other things that are not important for kids, young kids being ready for school. This is what should be tackled today. And all too often, pre-K for all, early child care for all becomes just this part of a tagline, and no one does anything. You know, I want to start by first of all thanking Mayor Greenberg from the very beginning of his campaign, and he is following through on this with his mission of child care for all and high quality child care. The Lieutenant Governor and the Governor have been champions for education since 2019 and before, and I can't thank them enough. To be specific about this, we have about 3,000, well, let me be exact. We have 2,877 children right now in pre-K or early child care, 3 and 4-year-olds. So let's say 3,000 to round up. We have about 6,000 kids in every kindergarten class. So if we take 3 and 4-year-olds, that's 12,000 kids in this community that deserve to have high quality pre-K care and instruction. So we serve about 3,000. Remember, 70% of our students are free and reduced. So let's say that half of those are not getting the pre-K they deserve. I mean, we're talking 4,000 to 5,000 students who are not getting the instruction that they deserve to come into kindergarten on the first day and feel like they are prepared. And that is something that has to change in this nation. And I can't thank the Bezos Academy enough. Mike said early on there are some superintendents of public schools who may not support this. I can't even imagine that. Because these kids that will be in the Bezos Academy will come to kindergarten ready. They will come to kindergarten ready, and what that means is the likelihood of them being successful for 3rd grade reading, 8th grade math, graduation and beyond skyrockets. And that is a difference maker. The reason I do this job is because education is a generational change. It doesn't just impact that one child, it impacts their children and their children's children. And this is the difference that we have to have in this community. Thank you so much to the Bezos Academy, and I can't wait to be here for the next one.
So thank you, Dr. Polio, for your kind remarks. And for anybody that's ever done public speaking could really sympathize when Lisa was broken up talking about her grandmother. And then she struggled a little bit, but she forgot to thank probably the most important people that had something to do with this and all the housing that LEG builds. And that's the G. Chris and I, Lechner and Dishner, get credit. He's smart, I'm good looking. Wait, what's that funny for? Yeah. But the G's the group, which there's quite a few of us here. Thank you, Scott Bryan, the whole gang. But especially especially our CEO, Bill Shirkliff. Where's Bill? Where's Bill? Stand up, Bill. Oh, that's Bill Shirkliff. Because it never fails when you do this. You always forget to thank somebody. And please, if we miss anybody, everybody is so valued. And as a spouse myself of a retired JCPS school teacher, I know firsthand how tough it is and how important the school teachers' jobs are. So we want to thank all the school teachers, Lieutenant Governor, for your commitment to our schools and to our kids. So I am Mark Lechner, as Christy said. I'm the co-founder of LDG with the greatest partner. Where's Chris? Greatest partner God has ever made. And of course, partner S, Lisa. And so, as Chris and Lisa shared, we could not be more excited about today's announcement and what it will mean for the children who will not only live in our development, but also attend the Bezos Academy, but also across the community. And so, years from now, when the facility is open and this day is a distant memory, we wanted to make sure that the child who will attend this school knew how excited we were to announce the Bezos Academy is expanding to Louisville. Thank you, Mike. And what better way to do this than this library of books that the students who will attend this school will be able to enjoy. And by the way, before I forget, and I always say you forget to thank the most important person, I want to thank my wife, Barbara, who, the retired JCPS school teacher, because I don't know if any of you guys really realize how much the school teachers and everybody really lived the life for their children and see, you know, the one that says they don't know if they're going to stay and all that, and live through that and come home very emotional from what they saw that day. So hopefully we can make a small difference. And of course, Lieutenant Governor, Mayor, we can do for the state of Kentucky what we're doing here. So at some point during this event, I guess you notice up here on the front tables, there's all these great books, children's book. So we like to close this event by having all our speakers, as well as their partners with Norton, including Russ, Dr. Hester, Christina, and John, Metro Council President Marcus Winkler and Madonna Flood, as well as all the district directors. Thank you all for coming, by the way, who are representing the various congressional offices to join me and take a few minutes to write a message to the hundreds of children who will one day have the opportunity to read and enjoy these books.